Hello again. It's September the 25th and I'm recording this, and the last few days have been just super powerful, and we're still building up to this 26th, which is tomorrow, Monday, which is really the key day of when things are kicking into a higher gear. Yet naturally it's a progression. It started with the Sun entering Libra just 2 days ago, and only hours after, about 6 hours after, Mercury started a new synodic cycle. Now this cannot be emphasized enough. When two events of major magnitude happen within short sequence, they reinforce each other. This is creating a very powerful landmark in the energetic time-space field. So what is so exciting about this chart in general, and that day is in particular, is that this is Neptune's discovery birthday, as I already mentioned. So Neptune's birth sun is at 0 degrees 19 in Libra. Here you have it. Now, let me tell you, this is really an intriguing discovery I made just by thinking about it. It's all about unmasking and, in that sense, healing the Neptunian frequencies, bringing them back to a positive polarity, as they have been pushed so much out of the center towards distortion. We're clarifying and healing that Neptunian energy. That's what's presently underway. And I show you this already has really been starting on a high gear in June, 4 months ago, with the last time Mercury was exactly between Sun and Earth, which is in classic astrology looked as the moment the new cycle starts between Earth, Venus and the Sun, that mutual dance of the three planets. Mercury is super important. I want to say this once more. Mercury is the representative energy of the human mind, of the ability to compare and to, in that sense, when comparison comes in, when we can compare the moment we had before with the moment that is now, with the moment that is to come, then time is created. That's pretty much the way it works. Time as such is an idea at best, because what has been is no more, and what will come is not yet. So it's pure projections in a way. So Mercury is the one which brings that in. The animal kingdom, in that sense, is perceiving. Yes, Mercury is also about perception, but the perception is in the now, and there's no thinking, there's no comparing what was and what will be. The animate nature is always exactly okay with what is. So Mercury, in that sense, is the human planet. Takes 88 days to move once around the Sun, as seen from the Sun. Very important in heliocentric astrology. You have 88-day rhythm. 88 is the number in the human design system, for those of you who are new to this subject. This is a super interesting kind of expansion of astrology, as it brings in a whole bunch of sister sciences, the I Ching, most particularly the Tree of Life, the chakra system. All of those are getting kind of integrated with one another, super powerful. The main information there is that there's a second chart which is important in our human incarnation on this planet, in this sphere, and that second chart hides an exact 88 degrees before birth. I have done hundreds of charts. It's amazing how it truly resonates and with the person's energy. Anyway, that 88 is again showing up. Also the 8 times 8, which is 64, which are the 64 hexagrams. So Mercury, in a most basic way said, is about comprehension of reality. And we are about to re-encounter, re-experience from a different level seen the energy of Neptune. Now, how is this showing itself in relation to Neptune's chart in a bigger way? Let's look at the overlay here for a moment. So, and let's turn it around. So this is, inside is now Neptune's discovery chart, outside is the planets where they were on the 23rd when Mercury was exactly between Sun and Earth. Here we have it at 014, and as I mentioned, Neptune's discovery Sun at 019. So we have an advantage in that sense right now over Neptune. We are ahead of the game. That's what this 014 versus 019 means. We see things earlier than Neptune catches it in a more pictorial way seen. So then you see the ascendant here in Greenwich, pretty much exactly on the Chiron planet where it was in Neptune's discovery chart. Another clear hint that we are investigating and having a really close and intimate look at what Neptune's energies are about. Here is Pallas and Jupiter together, and as you know, this is this powerful axis where also Maki and Salassia come in those early degrees of Libra and Aries, Salassia and Jupiter. Anyway, and then there is Pallas here again, so the whole picture fills in. Now this is just a few details. Another thing I want to point out in general is the void of course moon when Mercury had its new cycle start, laying the energies, the foundations for what's coming in the next 4 months. The void moon again in conjunction with the moon is Ceres, and first of all, the moon void, of course, is a time where we don't know what's coming next. That's basically what it says. It's the right brain energy of not really being able to organize time in a organized way. So you never know what's next. It's kind of a confusion. You're going into the dark. That's kind of what it feels. And when I say yes again with Ceres together, I just discussed this combination of energy in the last video, where it shows up in the last Salassia Maki opposition of September the 13th, which is super important. So the moon Ceres here, this is bringing us back to be nurtured emotionally from the earth, I guess that's how one could say it, and it is in this white water period of the hexagram, which concludes Leo 29, danger, water below, water above. So, okay, let's look at the overlay once more here. There's a few more. I mean, there's lots more going on which I'm not really mentioning, but this is what I wanted to point out. You see, Uranus by transit on that 23rd of September at 1833 in Taurus, and Neptune's discovery degree, the ascendant, 1834. You see it right away. This is explosive. This is really transforming that planet's energy, breaking it open and scrutinizing and also electrifying, infusing that Uranian energy of seeing things in a new way, of looking behind every stone and being able to change our juxtaposition. Uranus is extremely innovative. Then, I pointed this out already before too, the 20th degree here of Capricorn, where the focal point is of the Neptunian energy in its discovery chart, which is all about crystallization, and with the Virgo undertone, which actually Virgo is a super important sign here, as you see, for how Neptune wants to be seen and portrayed and experienced through that, in a way, rational and very distinct images. And with Arrokoth now here in this degree since pretty much about a year right now at 20 and 01, you see. Arrokoth is a very slow one, was the one which was visited by New Horizons space probe in 2019 on January the 1st, by the way, which in itself was a clear marker, and the universe gives these clear markers over and again. When something important happens, there is somewhat the message from the universe. Look at this. January the 1st is a very special day in that sense, naturally, the beginning of something new. Arrokoth, again, for those who are new, is the ability to see the bigger picture, to put all the pieces of the puzzles in line with one another, and to kind of get that direct insight into what is the truth. I mentioned it already in one of my last ones too, is that around October 2nd, the Sun will cross this degree. That's when it probably will get really interesting. Up to then, we are building the wave in a way. So it is a super interesting, and high potentials are around. Just look forward and look not back. That's the whole message here, which we get over and again. Focus on what is possible. Be brave. Be strong, and don't fall for all those attempts to push you back, to limit you and to control you. So that's the importance here of being strong and just holding one's ground, holding one's energy, not allowing the system to encroach upon you. And with that Leo energy here, the moon brings in, that is pretty easy actually at our present time. The moon, by the way, was already void when the sun entered Libra a few hours earlier than that, 6 hours earlier or so. So with a void moon, again, we are truly entering the unknown here. We are moving, we are pioneers. We are doing something nobody has done before. This is extremely exciting, but also needs us to be vigilant and aware, conscious, awake. So I thought it was really cool to go back one step and look what the last 4 months were, as they already were having that flavor of something truly breaking open in unprecedented ways. This was the chart of the last synodic Mercury return, beginning of the new cycle, which was at 043 Gemini on the May the 21st. So we just come out of these 4 months. Now let's have a bit of a review. It always helps, shows also the power of astrology in retrospect. So one thing stands out right away, and I just show you the overlay again with Neptune's chart, because it's really all about Neptune. This came clear to me in the last few weeks. So inside again we have the Neptune's discovery chart. Outside we have the transits as they were on May the 21st, when Mercury and the Sun had their last exact meeting here at 0 degrees 43 in Gemini, with the Earth on the other side, 043. So first of all, already it was a 0 degree alignment, which is rare. I mean, most often it's in any other degree, but this is a new beginning. Whenever there's 0 degrees involved, stepping into a new room, looking at things in a new way. In Gemini, Mercury's own sign, here in conjunction with Sedna, it was about looking at dark stuff and getting familiar with the many layers of that underworld of secrecy and of coercion, of abuse. All those themes are strongly resonating with Sedna. And Sedna is in this trine with this long-standing trine with Pluto here. You see, that's why this is a good thing that all these energies are coming up. Pluto is helping to bring this into light, because it's the evolutionary motor. Momentum is being built. Then very, very powerful, Saturn was pretty much at the same place it is in Neptune's discovery chart, which has the black moon here in opposition, and then the ascendant of that Mercury synodic chart for Greenwich is at 25. Scorpio, naturally, with the descendant at the exact same degree on the other side. So you see there's a grand square which forms between Neptune's discovery position, the Saturn conjunction, which in itself, as I have shown you in my earlier videos, please go back to them, they're all really full of information which builds the case, which gives you all the different thoughts, which build together a big edifice of understanding that this is all an amazing synchronicity, a symphony. The universe is, nothing comes by surprise. It's all long been prepared. It's just playing out now, and we are lucky enough to be the ones alive to be able to not just witness but co-create, take the energy and run. So you see, this in itself shows that we are really honing in on that Neptunian energy. It's like putting it into the crosshairs and targeting that energy in a much precise way with the midheaven in this May 2022 chart of the beginning of that last cycle, dead on Mercury in Neptune's discovery chart. So yes, it was about learning the language. And then the other thing which I thought interesting, okay, let's go to the next step. Now I did the midpoint chart of those two, the discovery chart and the beginning of that new synodic cycle, which would show how these two energies meet. And this is what we get. Now, again, 1934, that is the midpoint between 1846 and 2022. And this is just the exact day and time when these two moments meet. That's the hinge. I find that super interesting, that conjunction of the sun with the black moon here at the beginning of Leo. So this is really diving into the shadow. That's what we did. I guess it's obvious now in retrospect on all levels. It's a disillusionment period we have been going through, which is naturally the catalytic agent for the waking up to happen. You have to first be pushed head on to the problems, and almost it has to get so painful that you finally pull your head out of the sand and not that you stop behaving like an ostrich and look at what's going on. It's really, that's what many people are experiencing these days. It is, and have in the last few months. So this chart again holds many more wonderful revelations. For example, Aspolus here down at the bottom. Aspolus is a centaur, interested in the dark, difficult and mysterious. I like to think of Sherlock Holmes, that investigative interest in details and in all the dark secrets. And I guess that's another way to see how this discovery chart is certainly working. The time is accurate, is exact. So let's just keep it at this with this discovery chart. I want to go back to where we are right now. So I just want to give you the context here, show you how this really is a powerful moment of reset, of how, in this particular case, Neptune's energy will be perceived and modulated and reformatted over these next 4 months. So again, I did the midpoint chart of the two. We're now a few months past that point we had in the last midpoint chart. You see here it was 23rd of July 1934. So roughly 4 months later, naturally the midpoint moves about half that much. That is here. 24th of September, you see pretty much 2 months. That's what it boils down to. Now let's look at this chart and see. Once again, Mercury is just right here in this midpoint chart at the bottom of the chart this time, at the 21st degree of Libra. And let's have a quick peek what's going on there in Neptune's chart. Vertex is here and squaring the consciousness axis of this Neptunian energy. Vertex is the higher dimensional meeting point with the world, and the square point to the plumb line in that sense is the most yang place in a chart. It is where you reach out most to the away from the spinal centering of one's energy, reaching out in that sense. So this is an extremely active point, similar to the waxing half moon. And if we look here once more at the present, at this midpoint chart, you see that is 1950-20. So Mercury is again very strongly in focus here, approaching Jupiter, which again is expansion. Then a few other highlights. The moon here in the midpoint chart, 1141 Aries. And if we go back to this chart where they overlay each other, inside Neptune's discovery, outside the synodic chart of September the 23rd, and you see the 10th chart, 10th degree here has Chiron in Neptune's discovery chart, and the ascendant means the focal point of this whole 4 month period in regards to perception of reality, how we experience that, how we bring it into our lives. That's what the ascendant is about. This degree is where the moon is in the midpoint chart. So it is, the moon always brings naturally our emotions, our emotional involvement with the world. It's that deeper layer of who we are, that more archetypal and primordial. It's the moon connects us on a deep level, way deeper than thinking. And then the 10th degree of Leo rising in this midpoint chart, and this makes me go here full circle to the Libra ingress chart. That was just 6 hours before the Sun and Mercury teamed up and Mercury's synodic cycle got restarted. So this is the kind of the foundation chart of that whole next 6 months. And here we come with the midpoint chart of that Neptune and Mercury energy, dead on, pretty much on the same place, with the node even reinforcing it. And it is the coming from Leo with the full cup here, the full understanding of what the past has brought us to, kind of that understanding of the full inventory, and moving it on into the Aquarian frequency of falling in line and accepting everything as a natural play of polarity. It is important to take the emotional charge out of it eventually. This is necessary for the deeper healing to happen, when we bring the polarities together and understand. And then that's also the moment when you are no more feeling anger, when you have healed all that, when you truly see that evolution needed to go through all that darkness to come to a fullness of experience. Every little piece counts. If you look through your own life, every little experience had its deeper meaning, and it's always only from rear view, looking back at things, when we see I wouldn't be who I am today if I hadn't gone through that particular experience, however difficult it was. That has to become a collective understanding, and that will bring the healing eventually. Yes, it is about further exposing darkness and all the abuse which has been going on with Sedna here at the 10th house cusp, and the focal point of what matters, opposing Mercury again in this power axis, as I've shown you, which totally links into the Neptune's discovery chart. So yes, again, I could say way more things. I really want to focus on the most outstanding expressions of a chart, because I know it's, for many of you, this is all pretty new, even though you might be having worked with astrology for a long time. Adding all these additional planets, I mean, it's an adventure. We are pioneers. I like to say that again. That's really important. Jacqueline Hobbs, she emphasized that, and she's so right. We are breaking ground. So it is a learning curve we are going through. The more we are ready to go by trial and error, the better we will get. It is every inventor, successful creator, goes through sometimes hundreds of attempts before succeeding. So we have really to come to that same place in each of our own lives, to take the risk, to take the chance, naturally to put guardrails in place in dangerous locations, to use an additional rope for security if necessary, but to definitely dare to go to places we have not gone before. Again, this Leo energy, it is really helpful. Leo is that solar power of, that's me, take it or leave it, I'm shining, I'm so radiant that nothing can really touch me, like the sun, pushing out that steady stream of combustion of solar wind at least 300 kilometers per second. That's how fast the hydrogen particles are floating away from the sun. out of that heat zone and then pushing out in all directions towards the cosmos. And as you probably know, when there's big flares happening on the sun, then this speed of the combustion stream can be multiples of that, up to 2000 kilometers per second or more after big solar flares. The solar plasma, which is H plus hydrogen atoms, charged hydrogen atoms, they're pushed out into space and then interacting with Earth's magnetic field, whatever, a day, 2 or 3 later, depending on the speed, producing these beautiful northern lights, southern lights, auroras, aurora borealis. Anyway, just this Leo energy is what is the most important, and as I have shown you, this is the base energy of this next 6-month period. Again, thank you for listening, and yes, give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe. Okay, thank you.